Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Tardio, and tonight we are going to be going over so much stuff I don't even know where I begin. I guess maybe one of the biggest things that everybody's tracking inside of the media is Greenland, and I don't really think it's that big of a deal as people are making it out to be, and I'm going to explain to you guys why here in just a little bit. The Minnesota fraud investigation is definitely underway by the House Oversight Committee over there inside of the great state of Minnesota, and it's more scary, I think, than people realize how bad it was. Like, there was zero checks and balances going on inside the government, and government officials were just making excuses for why the fraud ran so rampant over inside of Minnesota. And then we have so many cities. Like, at first I saw one, which was St. Paul, Minnesota. Then I saw another one, I want to say it was in like Jersey. Then I saw Virginia, like just tons of them that are flying off the freaking hook, that are now like trying to pass city ordinance or some sort of state law that forbids ICE from being present on any public property. Hillary Clinton's got an indictment. Dude, we have so much stuff coming this way. It is absolutely insane. And an announcement for you guys tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be on the Rob Manna show. I believe it's afternoon. I'll have to double check the time on that. And then on Monday, I'm going to announce that one tomorrow for you guys. Some of you guys that are over in the Discord already know it's going to be taking place on Monday. You're super excited. If you actually know what I'm talking about, feel free to drop in the comment section. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and start getting into the show. Here's Trump's statement on Greenland.
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland. And it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things.
The market, 600 points, getting back a lot of some of the nervousness we had in the last couple of days. The tariffs are off. Nothing happens on February 1st.
No, we took that off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal.
A deal of ownership, a deal...
Well, it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain it down the line. But the Secretary General of NATO and I and some other people were talking, and it's the kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to make.
Where does Denmark...
You guys remember this morning, if you watched this morning's show, I was talking about how Trump and the Sec General actually agreed from NATO that they actually agreed on Greenland. And honestly, that rest of that interview is just kind of garbage, and you're not really going to hear much out of it, in my personal opinion. But what it actually sounds like maybe is the United States isn't necessarily acquiring all of Greenland, but Trump does say that it's going to be brain fart. Trump does say that it's going to end up being like an enduring deal for the rest of time. So we're not going to lose Greenland in whatever it's going to be. Celestia Trill says, hi, Matt. Hi, Banana Fam. Stay safe this weekend in the U.S. Yeah, major winter storm blasting our way. You guys make sure you're safe for that storm. Now, here's Trump on the rest. Right there, he dodged a question. I don't know if you guys could hear it. The reporter ended up asking him, did you end up getting ownership of Greenland? And he kind of dodged it, and he went into it's a long-term deal. It's the kind of deal where everybody's going to win. He tried going back and forth on it. Incock Faraday coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you very much, sir. Greatly appreciate you guys and your donations this evening. So that's kind of what we got going on for Trump. Now, before we move into Minneapolis, we start talking about the, I don't know how you want to say it, illegal immigration and insurrection issue that they have over there. I want to bring to you guys a story that comes out of Georgia, and I just want you to listen to it. I just want you to pay attention to the atrocious words and the story that's about to come out of this woman's mouth.
Deputies arrested 26-year-old Kenneth Moreno Guzman yesterday. He's facing 20 criminal charges, including child molestation, rape, and home invasion.
These charges run, several of them hold a 25 to life sentence. And that's our objective here, is to send him to prison.
The Bullock County Sheriff's Office got the call on Monday morning. They say Guzman entered a family's home through the back door. Then, investigators say he raped the 11-year-old girl. The Sheriff's Office also says Guzman held both the victim and her 10-year-old sister at knife point. Guzman lives in the same trailer park as the victim and her family. However, they did not know the suspect. He told the investigators the attack was premeditated.
He had previously seen this 11-year-old girl before. He claimed he was attracted to her, and so during the middle of the night, he broke into the home, found her in the bedroom with her sister, and forcibly raped her.
After the assault, investigators say Guzman ran. The sisters woke up their parents, who called 911. Investigators arrested Guzman during a
I can't believe that we actually have to have this conversation in the country. And I'm listening to everybody say WTF, but I promise you, you're going to have so many more WTF moments to come throughout this show with some of the stuff that I'm about to show you. Some of the things that are so like blatantly wrong, blatantly racist, blatantly just so screwed up that I don't even know where to begin. Somebody says, put me on the couch. Somebody says wood chipper. I can't believe that the penalty for that is 25 to life. Like death sentence should be on the table for that. Like we all as a collective need to get together and say, oh, you're an illegal immigrant. You want to come into the United States of America and rape an 11-year-old in front of her, like a mother right in front of her sister, and then rape that one. Like hell with that, man. These people need put to death. This is nuts. And again, I mean, once we end up getting this guy's criminal record, the amount of times that this nut job has probably been arrested since he's been here in the country illegally, I have no doubt that this guy has probably got like an extensive criminal record. Abby says wood chippers help more than deportation. Yes, they do. They really do. They're actually easier to deport that way. And Cock Faraday says there's not enough public wood chippers. Yeah. Yep. I posted about this over on X, and this lady was like, well, maybe, instead of like, just like killing him right away, maybe we could just, like shove bamboo shards underneath his fingernails. And I'm like, I'm not against every woman that's ever been raped. I'm not against every freaking, parent of a child that's ever been molested to go up to guys like this after they've been thrown into prison and just take those old school Viet Cong torture tactics, man, and just dead serious, man, just torture them little slits by little slits until they end up dying. And every time I see crap like this, and I know, because like there's videos now of ICE on the street that are going around being like, look, we're looking for a rapist. We're looking for a pedophile. We're looking for this. And you guys are freaking blowing whistles, warning them that we're coming. And they'll still turn around and go, well, you work for a pedophile. Can we see your warrant? Like, dude, piss off. Like, seriously, piss off. And then we got morons like this. This is Tim Walz talking to his constituents today over inside the great state of Minnesota. Listen to the crap he's spitting.
Quinn, Gusai, and all the friends that come to see Gus, thank you for coming out in the cold, but more importantly, thank you for standing up. Thank you for standing up for our neighbors who don't have a fence and don't have people to take them around.
Thank you for standing up for our neighbors that don't have a fence. As he stands on the other side of his fence, encouraging people to stand up for people inside of the country illegally that probably crossed an area of our border that didn't have a fence by a man that doesn't want the United States of America to have a fence, but he wants the illegals, once they're inside the country, to have a fence. The amount of hypocrisy coming out of this one statement is absolutely freaking ludicrous. What the hell is wrong with these people? Is the wood chipper business busy? Dude, we're not even there yet, man. We're not even there. Like I mean, I almost want to finish this stupid
and
statement.
Don't have lawyers to defend them. Yeah. And for every single person who... Oh, there's a bull. Oh, here we go. All right. Yeah, that's good. And on behalf of Gwen, I and Gus, it's so nice to see people out here not angry with us. So thank you. But just to say, these are the moments for people to stand up. These are the moments that are not the easy ones, but these are the moments where character comes out. I am receiving notes from around the world. People identifying, and there's a lot of people saying, okay, I was sleeping on Minnesota. And I think what you've done and what our neighbors...
And nobody other than the freaking whack jobs that live inside that town are saying that they were wrong on Minnesota. The only reason people are saying they're wrong on Minnesota is because they didn't realize how ridiculous the fraud inside of that state is, how bad the freaking immigration problem is over inside of there, and how lawless, I mean, quite literally lawless, the entire society is. And then when we actually want to stand up and make new laws over inside of the state, you would think that maybe they'd be enforcing immigration or they would be doing something great. Nope. Not even close. This is the laws that they want to pass. This one's coming out of St. Paul, prohibiting law enforcement staging on city-owned property. Presented by Tim Greenfield, City Policy Officer. I always keep messing that up. City Chief Policy Officer. Man, always keep screwing that up. Check this out. prohibits law enforcement staging on city-owned properties and limits access to non-public city spaces. You know, so if the city owns it and you got to have a badge to access there, which you're going to hear about in a minute. Oh, it's about to get worse. It's about to get worse. Clarifies that city employees may not permit any access to city-owned or city-controlled property except when required by a signed warrant. Now, that within itself would sound ridiculous because here it just says prohibits law enforcement. But the idiot that was presenting it to the city council didn't say all law enforcement, didn't say because, you know, police need to scale it back a little bit. Nope, not even remotely close. Just wait. Definitions of two terms. Enforcing federal immigration law means any and all efforts by law enforcement agencies to investigate or penalize a person's presence in, entry, or re-entry to or employment in the United States. Staging area means an area used to assemble, mobilize, coordinate, and or deploy vehicles, equipment, and materials and related personnel for the purpose of carrying out operations for the enforcement of federal immigration laws. Now, I know what you're saying, Matt. That sounds illegal. How could it possibly be that they're doing that? Well, I'm glad you brought that up because in my opinion, it is grotesquely illegal. And the guy presenting it kind of gives you everything you need to know. Now, this is a 10-minute clip of this man presenting the law, and I don't think I need to present the entire clip, but I just want you to listen to him for a minute and the crap that he's speaking.
Thank you, council members and council president for the opportunity to speak today. These are times that try our souls as a city. It's important that we highlight the efforts that the council is taking today on the individual ordinance, but also discuss the steps that we intend to take as a council moving forward. So part of my presentation will also discuss our ongoing legislative strategy to respond to the ongoing federal actions and that our city is currently suffering from. As the legislative body of
So he lays this out clearly in the beginning, which this law is to go against the federal actions going on that they are freaking, how do I want to say this, that they are subject to, which is absolutely insane. He's literally talking about passing a law to impede federal law enforcement investigations on public property.
the city council is empowered to create and make changes to our city's laws. This includes our city charter, which dictates the structure of our city's government, our administrative code, which dictates what actions our city staff can take, and our legislative code, which applies to the public living and working in our city limits. The council has committed to meeting the needs of our city's people, including updates to the city's existing separation ordinance. However, the council's approach recognizes the approach unveiled today, beginning with this ordinance, recognizes the urgency to act expediently and with the necessity to build durable protections that provide clarity to residents and that can withstand legal challenges. The council acknowledges that since the events of December 25th, 2025, everyone knows things have changed. The dynamics of the federal escalation show that the actions of federal immigration agencies have changed and continue to change, which means that the residents of the city cannot wait for one comprehensive change to the city's existing separation ordinance, which is located in the administrative code and only binds the conduct of its employees. With that, work is also underway to create additional changes to other parts of our city's legislative code, moving forward with a multi-part approach to allow for swifter action and greater legal durability for ordinance changes.
Your stupid city ordinance does not trump federal law enforcement activity there, bub, especially when it's freaking legal. And all of you guys are making enough comments about his manly voice so that I don't have to. Michael Nickerson says, been saying it for a while now, charging the sanctuary city and state government heading with aiding and abetting, as that is what they are doing. Yeah. Yep. And I'm glad you brought it up. Now, this is St. Paul. This is the same city where you ended up having the church raided over the weekend, which I won't even get into freaking Don Lemon's latest stupid statements. It's now been 24 hours since we heard our government tell us that arrests were coming overnight. Not a single arrest today has been made in that case. I want to throw that out there. I haven't even heard an update from them as to why. They were really quick yesterday as everybody was all pissed off for the last 2 days. And then last night, they're like, yep, we're going to be making arrests on this. Not one. Not even that retarded guy that calls himself a combat veteran has been arrested yet. Not even that guy. I would think at this point that we would be able to get at least one criminal complaint signed by a federal judge, from the FBI, from anybody, so that we could go arrest these guys. But we haven't yet. And so that's making me wonder, because Don Lemon, as far as I'm concerned, he's the idiot that really got it out there. And he deserves to be charged just as much. And he and his little smug face walking around pretending like everything was okay. That's the same city. They don't want it there, apparently. They really don't. And they wanted to make it known that everybody stands with them. Everybody. Howdy, says Low Hood. Howdy. You ready to be upset?
Thank you, Ms. Bowie. Ms. Jost.
Thank you, Council President Naker. I just hope that it's clear to everyone that this council is unified against ICE, and we are committed to protecting our residents. This federal operation in our city it's a crisis, it's an emergency, and the impact has been brutal. I mean, our businesses closing, neighbors disappearing, really fear that everyone's experiencing just to go on about their everyday lives. This ordinance that was introduced today is the first step of many steps that we're going to take, as Mr. Greenfield mentioned, to ensure that our city doesn't waste its resources on unproductive federal work. Our constituents have made it clear that they do not want any part of this. We do not want ICE in our community, and we will do whatever we can to ensure that our city government maintains its stark separation from their operation.
Oh, you did more than that, lady. You guys, and I'm waiting to hear whether or not this frickin' law passed. You guys passed a law in direct violation, if you did do that, to the Constitution of the United States of America. Treason is one that I can think of. Sedition. I mean, just everything. Aiding and abetting. Obstructing. All sorts of it. And you're using your official capacity in order to do it. And again, this is one city, ladies and gentlemen. We've got so many more that we're going to be going over tonight. And by the way, don't look past her freaking water cup either, with her little hearted gay pride flag and all the other garbage going on it. She looks like a freaking 2-year-old. She looks like a freaking middle schooler, like a little teenage girl with her freaking water cup sitting there, sipping from it at the city council, trying to tell us what they can and can't do. It's like these people forgot that city doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the United States of America, and they're allowed to govern themselves within the laws of the United States of America, in the Constitution of the United States of America. And you've been living, like they have been living in their own little communist bubble for so long. They forgot that doing stuff like this is going to get them thrown in jail. And it needs to be, like it needs to be used against them. Today, over inside Minnesota, like I said, they ended up having the big freaking smackdown on everybody. We're going to talk about it in a minute. But not before, hold on. Incog Faraday, I thank you for your donation, sir. But before I mean, you guys might want to save them for a hot second. You might want to save it, because before you talk about just deporting Minnesota, you might need to save your cash, because you might want to deport, I don't know, Providence, Rhode Island as well.
Honestly, nobody in the country knows how or why this administration, which is reckless and erratic, picks and chooses its targets. I work closely with my colleagues through the U.S. Conference of Mayors. We've all been talking a lot lately, including with the mayor of Minneapolis. And the honest answer is none of us know who's next, and we don't believe there's any way to know who's next. And so in the absence of that, what I think is most important is that, first, the city of Providence do everything it can to protect its residents. Second, that the people of Providence see and understand and hopefully trust that their government, including their police department, is on their side, and they're for them. And as I mentioned earlier, I expect to sign a few more executive orders this year. This is going to continue to evolve, and we will continue to take whatever steps we think are necessary. And the fear of consequences from the federal government is not a factor at this time, because there are families in Providence who are afraid. They are justified in their fear. There are kids in Providence who are not going to school. There are people in Providence not going to work for fear of enforcement actions like this. And my responsibility is to them, not to anybody in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you for telling us that you worked directly with the mayor of Minneapolis on this, and that you guys have been talking, and it's because of enforcement actions that caused you to sign the bill. And what bill did he sign? It bans ICE from using city-owned property while enforcing immigration law. The same garbage I just told you guys about over inside of St. Paul, Minnesota. So what do you think is in frickin' Mayor Fry's baggie of tricks that's about to come out? Incog Faraday, you sure you just wanted to deport Minnesota at this point? Sure you're not set up for Providence yet? Tristan Allen says, oh, man, I totally lost you, bud. Holy frickin' crap, man. You guys been super chatty. He says, what's up, Matt? The Dems are crazy as hell and are going after white men now. And now boroughs in Pittsburgh that are Democrat are telling police they can't work with ICE. Well, that's what they think. That's what they think, friend. I'm telling you, all of these idiots conspired over the phone to drop these different types of laws and stuff all today. And it's not just the boroughs of Pittsburgh and white people and everything else. Like, wait till I tell you about Virginia. Tristan Allen coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you, sir. And Abby says, Minneapolis is a blueprint and a testing ground for guys like Mamdani, who just said today that we need to abolish ICE, by the way. Make Gallo Great Again Fund. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you with the MGGA. We just need to do it. You know, I thought about like putting together a shirt for Nazis that just says like NOT space Z, like not Z as in not Gen Z. I don't think it'd be as cool or as funny as everybody. Like, I don't think that many people would realize it, but yeah, you know, like this, not Z, you know, like not C. I don't know, not Z. Yeah, whatever. All right, not funny. Moving on. All right, Virginia introduced a bill that discriminates white men in government. It forbids them from having any contracts over under $100,000. And so 0 white men get contracts in the state of Virginia. Any of the state government contracts for under $100,000 don't go to white men. And if there is nobody else, and I mean literally nobody else, then the white man can get the contract. I talked about this morning. I didn't realize how ridiculously racist this freaking crap was, this particular bill in Virginia, until I ended up reading it out loud. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's racist as hell. But then it gets even better and it says, well, white men still can't have that job as long as there's a white woman there. And as long as the white man's bid is only 5% under the white woman's bid, then the white woman business owner can have the bid. Literally puts white men all the way at the bottom of the freaking barrel. X5 says, Pam Bondi, get off your butt. The Democrats are literally all saying they aren't afraid of you. Like one indictment this week. Please, I beg you. Man, I freaking hope she hears you. Don Reed, thank you very much, ma'am. Coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Roughneck says this ish needs to come to an end one way or another. It will. When people start getting shot. That's what's going to end up happening. When people start getting shot, that's when it's going to come to an end. I promise you that. I promise you that. And if you weren't pissed off enough yet about white men not having jobs, the boroughs over inside of Philly, Jersey, the laws in St. Paul, then we go over and we bring up the fraud. And the fraud is so freaking bad over there. Like, if you haven't heard this yet, believe me, you want to hear it. This is, again, Minnesota House Oversight Committee talking with the lady that's actually responsible for figuring out the fraud.
You view your role as supporting agencies to do their job, but not holding them accountable. Am I understanding that?
Madam Chair, we do not have a tool to hold agencies accountable.
So what would that tool be? What do you need? Because under statute, that is your responsibility for internal controls. So if you don't have the tools and it's yet your statutory responsibility, like, what do you need?
I want to be clear that when you look at the state statute, subdivision 8 of 16A.057 specifically states that the head of each executive agency is responsible for designing, implementing, and maintaining an effective internal control system within the agency that complies with the requirements of the subdivisions. I mean, I know you're asking the question of what do we need to hold agencies accountable? I would view that differently, and that would be to say, what do we need for agencies to be successful?
What? She's nuts. She's literally charged with accountability, and she doesn't like this. This is the time she decides to bring up the verbiage of what tools we need to make these agencies successful.
Okay, I would just like to point out that in statute 16A.057, it says the commissioner, meaning of MMB, is responsible for the system of internal controls across the executive branch. Sub 1, safeguard public funds and assess and assets and minimize incidents of fraud, waste, and abuse. That is the responsibility of the commissioner of MMB.
And Chair Robbins, the way that we do that is by creating a framework for agencies to use and providing support and resources and tools for them to use in order to identify and implement their own internal controls.
And when they fail at that, what do you do?
Go ahead.
I don't like the term fail.
Chair Robbins,
do a good enough job.
What we do is step in with support. So
there's that word again, support, baby. Got to step in with support. What do you got to do, lady? You got to step in with support. This lady nailed it. Holding their dang feet to the fire. Why are these women council members? Dude, at least like she's freaking trying. Bigger question for a bigger woman is, why is she in charge of anything at all? How is she in charge of anything at all? You're talking about a $9 billion fraud that they're investigating. $9 billion fraud that they are investigating. And she sits there and says, how can we make them more successful? What can we do to help them succeed? Incog Faraday says all these nut jobs seem to be typing or trying to get Trump to use the insurrection clause. Then they can say they told us so. Right. As they sit there and they gaslight their own people into thinking that it's okay. Sky God coming in gifting out 20 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you very much, sir. And Mark Demelin says, that pumpkin with the glasses doesn't know what she's saying. And of course, he's referring to this pumpkin right here. Yeah. Yeah. I remember 2-3 months ago when I sat here and I told you guys that I am way more concerned right now with what's going on here in the United States of America than I am overseas. And don't get me wrong, I've still talked about overseas. I'm still talking about overseas. I still reach out and I'm keeping my freaking fingers on the pulse for what's going on with Iran. They're openly gunning people down the streets. And the word is, any day now, we're going to end up bombing them. Viper, thank you, X-Viper 5. Mind you, those jobs are like $150K a year. Yeah, if we looked into it, hers is actually probably above that because it's Minnesota. She's probably making a $250,000 plus. $250,000 plus. It ain't cheap in today's economy to get that big. I want to remind you, that's a lot of freaking food. And if she's got a family the same size of her, bro. Lord, forgive me for that. That wasn't nice. Jason Freely says, brother, my wife is not that small, but she has my heart. Yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. Don Booth says she obviously can't stop a fork from going into her mouth. So how is she supposed to stop fraud? I don't know. Could always try blaming the fork. Could always try blaming the fork, you know? I don't even know what to say at this point when it comes down to that. Like, honestly, I don't. what I do know is we're not done yet. Showed this morning, put this up on the screen. This is the subpoena for the custodian of records of the office for the mayor of Minneapolis. And we're about to dig into that. And I'm about to tell you why Tim Walz is screwed, along with Jacob Fry, along with the mayor of St. Paul, along with all of them. Twins Mama says, as a woman, I'm going to say women should not be in a leadership role. It's not part of our DNA. Come for me. LOL. Well, Twins Mama, you and I might actually quasi agree on that. I can't. Okay, Twins Mama, you want to have a conversation? Do you want to know why that's happening? In my opinion, why we have women like that are in leadership roles, not the one that's sitting there at the podium asking the tough questions. She's doing a good job. But truthfully, that woman that's sitting at that podium, let me back this up over to a more relevant position. That woman that's sitting at that podium, these questions should have been asked years ago. These questions should have been asked after national attention was brought on it and over $9 billion in fraud was found. These questions should have been asked when they noticed we're spending a lot of freaking money on daycares. We're spending a lot of money on after-school education programs. We're spending a lot of money on autistic centers. We're spending a lot of money, and it seems to all be going to this one specific community. Has anybody looked into this yet? Seeing how I'm like, the chair of the House Oversight Committee. Has anybody? There's a failure at all levels. And we're sitting back right now and we're congratulating, this lady for doing such a good job, or at least I was, when the reality is this thing over here is partially responsible. There is a checks and balances system, and I'm proud and I'm happy that that lady is doing her job, but it shouldn't be that way. And you want to know why it's happening that way? You want to know why we have people like this that are in charge of crap? Because men aren't men anymore, and they're afraid to speak up. Because men can't look at women and say, you know what? You need to sit down. This isn't correct. You're doing a bad job. And it's not because you're a woman. It's because you suck at what you're doing. And you can hold in the part to what you're wired for, and you got to not be afraid to have the freaking lawsuit coming your way. And just stack the paperwork and get rid of them. But nobody's doing it anymore because they're too afraid of getting freaking sued. Tristan Allen says, lock up Neville Island Pittsburgh Committee meeting on ice. They all need freaking locked up. Every single one of these morons I'm talking about needs to get locked up. Twins Mama says, women are distracted. No. Women ended up buying into the lie that they do not need men, that their children don't need fathers. And then the federal government pushed that even harder on them by giving them all of this social support. When we got women that have 10 baby mamas, 10 baby daddies, and they get a different check for each and every one of them, there's a very simple solution to that. If you need social support, you can get social support from the government as you're married to the guy, unless he died, or let's say unless there was infidelity that was proven in court. Other than that, if you choose to leave your husband and you got babies, you better figure it out. But what you're not going to do is produce 1,000 different babies to leech off society, like we're seeing all of the time. And if you have 2 children that qualify, you don't get a 3rd, 4th, and 5th because you decide to have those ones out of wedlock with random frickin' dudes. Start choosing widely, and men, stop breeding with liberal frickin' women, for crying out loud. Just stop doing it. Twins Mama says, we have kids, extracurricular, etc. Yeah, exactly. And even though you have that, those kids still need fathers in their lives. Man is holy, 8172. Hey, Matt, do you have any more insight on the guy that was arrested at Target by federal agents being the devil's advocate? It seemed like it was a retaliation for the video I saw. This is just assumption at this point. I'm not sure what Target video you're talking about, but if it was the Target employee, he was inside the country illegally. Other than that, I'd have to be referred to a specific video because, believe it or not, there's actually a lot of arrests that have occurred at Targets. And there's a lot of claims right now that are floating around, not just 1 or 2. Ozzy Mick says, President Trump, please buy Australia. MAGA us up too. Oh, Ozzy Mick, you're not that lucky, man. We actually like the Aussies, and we're not gonna start too much crap. We're not going to do it. Meanwhile, they're all riding against ICE. This video is way too long for me to play the entirety of. It's an entire, 5-minute video. But you guys can kind of see what's going on here. And this is Greg Bavino, I believe, in CBP. Bortax on the ground over inside of Minnesota. And they are freaking hitting it hard on the street over there, rounding up illegals. But the big thing that I noticed from all of these videos is, one, you have a bunch of insane people that are now empowered, that are now emboldened because you had people's civil rights get violated, and they're making it even worse. And there's now a new rumor flying around due to some nut jobs, and you're going to see a couple of them, that ICE is detaining protesters, beating them up, and throwing them outside the ICE facility in these freezing sub-zero temperatures, sometimes without any clothes, beaten dang near to death. This is what they're saying. And it's caused even more people to get pissed off and riot and chase ICE around and everything else. And I see some of you guys saying that they're decoys. Yeah, I agree. Some of these people are decoys, but you know what else they are? They are obstructing. I have long been calling for situations like this to have a QRF on standby. And all of the dang people that are responsible for doing this, as ICE is going about, as CBP is going about doing their damn jobs, that you end up bringing in, cordoning off the area, and arresting every single one of these bastards that's doing this and getting away with it. Do I need to go back and play the rape video of the illegal immigrant on the 11-year-old child in front of the mother and then raping and sexually assaulting the other child? Do I need to bring that video back up again that just took place over inside Georgia? Do we need to recount that? These people are interfering with it. I played 4 or 5 different videos over the last 24 hours that have showed ICE agents coming out saying, listen, we are actually after a frickin' chomo or a child predator that's already been arrested for it, that's in the country illegally. We are after rapists. We are after rapists. I mean, how many times do I have to frickin' state it? And even now we can go over to the what was it? The worst of the worst website from DHS. And they even updated it to where you can see the previous charges and all the other crap they've been convicted of. But nobody wants to believe it. They just want to riot and freaking cause hell. Twins Mama says, I'm a single mom with a deadbeat, so I work 2 full-time jobs. I can own my life, but it's not natural. Just saying so, folks. No, I'm not bashing strong women like me, and I'm not bashing strong women like you either. I pay child support. I've been doing it. I lost my house over it at one point. Just to make sure that my family's taken care of. I'm tired of this crap. People need to do their freaking jobs as parents. That's what they need to do. They need to do their dang jobs as parents. It's freaking upsetting, man. And at the same time, we need to go over and we need to arrest morons like this and not allow this crap to happen. Maybe they wouldn't have the money to be out there on the street if they didn't have 20 freaking baby daddies. Just saying. Just saying. Well, ICE is kind of over that crap. CBP, BORTAC, everybody's over it.
Let's go. Let's move. Let's go. Hey, load up. Let's go. Load up.
It's turning into a dang clown show out there. And I don't think these people even realize that they are the stars of the show. I don't think they do. And I don't even think the people that are reporting on this crap actually know what it is they're reporting on, if we're going to be honest. Caption on this video was green tear gas was being deployed. It's freaking smoke. For the love of God, it's smoke. It's not tear gas. It's not CS. It's freaking smoke. These people are so freaking out of control that you got ICE agents that are riding on the freaking sideboards of vehicles trying to get the hell out of that neighborhood. Every single one of them is obstructing. Every single one of them is impeding law enforcement. Every single one. Not to mention all of the freaking state and municipal statutes they're breaking while doing it. Every single one of these turds needs arrested, and I'm tired of seeing this crap. They're terrorists. That's what they are. And they're insurrectionists. We're talking about actual federal laws that are on the books that nobody's enforcing. Anthrax them? Dude, if you anthrax that one lady that was at the city council meeting, you know, the big boned one, she would definitely have a freaking heart attack. The chest pains I deal with from what I believe is my anthrax vaccine, and I'm a pretty healthy dude, I don't think she would freaking hack it. But maybe it would stop all these freaking people from running around. There's a million different freaking laws that you could charge these people with. They need to put a federal disorderly. I don't even know if the feds have a disorderly conduct charge. But for the love of God, there needs to be one. When are we going to see troops on the ground? Says man is holy. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Glad you asked. An MP unit from the 82nd Airborne was also given a warning order today, and we still have the folks from Alaska, the 2 infantry battalions that have also been put on. In total, it's like 2,500 troops now. I believe that they're looking at surging in there. And seeing what's taking place over inside of Iran and seeing what's taking place over inside of Israel, my personal belief, and I've said it, and I feel like I'm going to be right on this, is Trump isn't going to sign the Insurrection Act until we're ready to bomb Iran and take out the Ayatollah and have all of that crap going on. Meanwhile, we're busy crushing these people over inside of Minnesota. I think the day that happens is when we're going to be there. This is probably one of my favorite videos that ended up coming out today. And I got to put it on probably like half speed as I put it up on the screen and I hit play. I just want you to watch it because it's even better on 50%. This lady just gets freaking hosed. Boom, boom, right in the freaking face. I don't know what the actual minimum safe distance is for hosing somebody down with that can, but I know I approve of this freaking operation right here. Screw that woman. Screw every single one of these people that's out there doing this crap. These are BORTAC officers. These aren't your typical ones. And for those of you guys that are unfamiliar with BORTAC, or at least you think you're unfamiliar with BORTAC, I will refresh your memory by bringing up Uvalde. When the Uvalde PD couldn't deal with the active shooter, it was a freaking BORTAC agent that went into Uvalde and smoked that guy while taking a round to the head. BORTAC. Those are the guys up on your screen dealing with these guys right now. No, they ain't going to screw around. Vaxie coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you very much. Johnny44 says, I wonder how many will be out there tomorrow and Friday when there is negative 40-degree wind chills. Not a frickin' single one. Twins Mama says, as a non-citizen but a Leo alien, we should take our butts to Minnesota to protect our ICE agents. I'm a British vet from Desert Storm. I've embraced my Second Amendment, as you should. As you freaking should. I am so tired of this garbage, man. We don't have, like, half the problem is that people like you, Twins Mom, and people like me, and people like everybody else over there, we're too busy trying to pay our bills and support our families and do everything correct while these folks are doing that. And I even can go over there and make money while I'm doing it. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't want to be part of the dang clown show. It's just stupidity at this point. Every single one of these people, morons. How many more cameras do we need to shove in their face to prove to the world that these folks are out of freaking control? Abby says one of the Uvalde officers was just found innocent on 29 counts right before you started streaming. I actually had a conversation about the Uvalde officers yesterday. I've talked about it before on the show. Your average beat cop is not trained at all to deal with something like that. Yes, they get active shooter training.
And bring high-powered...
Shush, woman. We're going to get to you in a second. They get active shooter training, but it ain't it. And when you have a barricaded suspect on the other side of a freaking door that's just sitting there waiting to freaking trip a trigger in order to shoot anything that moves, and then you have hostages in another room, where you're the guy that's up there and you're panning that corner and you're going around and you're trying to clear threat from non-threat and engage the appropriate target, your reaction time isn't fast enough. And even that very well-trained BORTAC officer that went in there and took the guy out ended up taking a round to the head. And it's really easy, I think, for a lot of people that have never been in that situation to sit back and scream that they should have done what they've done. And I've died on this hill before and I'll die on it again. And you can disagree with me on this subject all you freaking want. But most of y'all have never been in that position before, where there's somebody with a freaking rifle on the other side of the door aimed at the freaking edge of it, waiting for you to poke your head around. It's not an easy thing to deal with, especially for a like overweight freaking officer that the last time they fired their pistol was 6 months ago. Drop it. I don't know how else to say that. I will, however, condemn the officer that let that shooter run into the school after he crashed out. He should have shot him in the back at that point, but he didn't. And if you want to know why I think he didn't do it, it's because of freaking libtards like this. Listen, this is the idiot that organized the protest, allegedly, over inside the church. Protest inside the church.
People's homes and bring high-powered military weapons. They've been allowed to use flashbang grenades, tear gas, most recently almost killing a 6-month-old baby who was riding in a vehicle with their family of 8 when ICE agents launched flashbang grenades and tear gas at that family's SUV. Now, this is not a family of immigrants. This is a family of African Americans, native-born African Americans, and their baby lost consciousness when that tear gas came into the vehicle. And the mom had to perform CPR while talking to someone through 911. And then their other 2 children, they had to rush to the emergency room because they have asthma and could not breathe as well.
You think Aaron Burnett would have stopped her and corrected her at all as she was making that statement? Because it's been raging all day long that particular situation that she talked about is extremely untrue. Here's the 911 call to refresh your memory.
Engine 4 to respond for now. On the corner of 23rd and Lindale Avenue North, we got a report of a baby that's been exposed to tear gas. At 404 India, Engine 4. We got a report 626 23rd Avenue North, a baby that's been exposed to tear gas. At 404 India, 2123.
Oh, okay. So we'll start there. But what
Wednesday
really
night,
happened?
as chemical gas, flashbangs, and fireworks were exchanged.
We were leaving South Minneapolis from our son's basketball game at Anderson Middle School.
As the night unfolded,
we started to see, lights and stuff.
One North Minneapolis family trying to make their way home.
Even trying to leave, I couldn't go backwards, forward. It was like I was just stuck.
Destiny and Sean Jackson, along with their 6 kids, had just left a nearby grocery store after the game when they turned onto Lindale. Sean says they tried to take a side street after they saw the crowds.
There's nothing we can do if it's blocked off.
Sean and Destiny say they were stuck between crowds of protesters and law enforcement. When law enforcement tried to disperse the crowd,
all we heard was boom.
Wait for it.
Every
More
airbag
theatrics.
deployed.
They say a flashbang went off near their car as tear gas enveloped them.
And I was screaming to my oldest son, Sean. I'm like, get out, get out. Like, I can't, Mom, and I can't breathe.
Destiny says bystanders pulled her into a home to check on her as she screamed that her 6-month-old child was still in the car.
He was just like lifeless, like he had like foam like around his mouth, and he had tears coming out his eyes. I was giving him mouth to mouth, and I remember stopping and I said, I will give you all my breath till you get yours back, because nobody wants to see.
Turns out that was a lie. Here they are. Right in the middle of a freaking protest, 45 minutes before the cops came up, these idiots were partying on camera, dancing around all over the freaking place. They got busted. And that same nut job that ended up going in and invading the church, violating everybody's civil rights, organized the entire thing, just tried to quote it as a reason for why they had to do what they did. Shocker. I know. see the comments raging as I was playing those videos like, Matt, get on with it. Tell the people that she lied. They lied. And they made, I think it was $170K, almost $200,000 in a GoFundMe for their poor little kid. 45 minutes, allegedly, the child was left hanging out in the car. Well, they were out roaming the streets, being frickin' hooligans, because God forbid anybody be a real parent these days. How many more freaking times are we going to see that? And I remember when I first saw this story, I was like, just wait for it. How many times have we seen parents bringing their kids to this crap, using them as shields and pretending to be victims? It's never ending. These people are relentless liars. They're horrible human beings, even worse parents. And as a parent, how you could be out there protesting against officers, arresting people, and getting them the hell out of your neighborhood that are raping children blows my mind. Could you imagine having a rapist live right around the corner from you, like a child rapist, and your neighbor being like, nope, we want to keep them. They're here illegally. They're just undocumented. Not a big deal. Dude, eat it. Jessica A. Buffington, becoming a true supporter. Thank you, ma'am. Very, very much. Absolutely freaking nuts to me. But that's not the worst of the BS that's going around. If this story is substantiated, I will be shocked.
We're following these two men, and I was waiting for these two men to hold the door for me. And I told them, hey, can you hold the door for me? And I walked right in the middle. And when I was in the middle, ICE came. They came out of their cars. They asked me to see my ID. And while they were asking me to see the ID, they just decided it was nice to be racist and say really nasty things to me. And that man, he called me the N-word, and he called me that, and then he arrested me. They arrested me. It was multiple people. They used a lot of force to arrest me. I actually got I
actually took these Band-Aids out of the Leering Center, and I mean, I'm not gonna show you the actual marks, but I have Band-Aids on my forehead.
Scab that was healing while I was in jail. But they pushed me hard. They used a lot of violence. My body still hurts. I got a concussion. It's really hard for me to speak because of that concussion. They were just using a lot of force to arrest me, and I was screaming. I was crying. I was so scared. I've never been arrested in my life. I don't have a criminal record. I have a clean record. It was just, and then that detainment, I was detained. I was literal cuffs were put on my legs, cuffs on my hands, and I was actually detained with a Native American woman. And God bless her heart. Island. She went through a lot too. She was also detained by ICE, and she was also a U.S. citizen, and like me. And she had gashes on her face. They shattered her windows. She had blood on her jeans, her corduroy jeans, and she was crying because she was so scared because she was with her.
Look at No Neck in the back, just nodding along.
Dog. She was so scared that her dog got hurt. She was so scared for her life. We were both crying together. We were holding each other tight, and I'll never forget.
Like, how are you holding each other tight as you're getting the brakes beat off of you and getting called the N-word, lady?
Fear that we both felt in our hearts that day. And I'm so sorry if I'm getting a little emotional. Take some time. It's okay. You've done enough. Okay.
Thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. You did a good job. You did a good job trying to choke up fake tears with your inbred forehead. You did great. Tristan Allen says that family was following ICE and impeding as far as leaving the kids in the car while it's negative temperatures out. Now they're frauding out people on a GoFundMe. Described to a T, man. You described them to a T. To an absolute T. And all of you, I watched it in the comment section that were like, they all look inbred, because a good chunk of them are. Go look up the first cousin marriage rates over inside of Somalia or across the Muslim world in general. Jay Blake says, if you mess with the bull, you get the horn. That's right. They have horns. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. I agree. Somebody says 5-head, holy lower jaw Batman. It's Omar's sister. It's a lot of things. Those Band-Aids look freaking brand spanking new. Like they just had to put brand new Band-Aids on her right before that. And I'm glad they folded them down into a point because that really drives the point home that poor woman definitely got assaulted. I saw a video from one of the leftists on the ground that was screaming about, not screaming, one of the heavy set women standing in front of the Whipple building that was describing how ICE had taken people and beaten them and thrown them in the snow, sometimes unclothed, and they always drag them out in the middle of the night. And I made a comment underneath the video, and I had said, I thought whales had that amount of blubber to protect them from the cold. Why is she wearing a coat? And about 5 minutes later, the dude ended up taking the video down. Red Chariot, coming in at 5, says, U.S. citizens also have to follow the law. Child endangerment is illegal. This pisses me off in so many ways. Right. And do you think we'll ever see that couple arrested for child endangerment? Do you think CPS is going to go pay them a visit? Do you think any of that's going to happen? Do you think they're going to get forced to give that money back to anybody for fraud? No. They won't do it. They won't force a single soul to do it. Drives me freaking nuts. My favorite thing when it goes to the gaslighting, though, like the king of the gaslighting, has to be Fry.
So if and when that subpoena comes and we are told that investigation has been launched, will you comply with the Justice Department's demands?
Look, we have done nothing wrong. So, of course, we will comply, but at the same time, we need to be understanding how wild this is. And whether it's Senator Slotkin or Governor Walz or myself, this is not the way that we conduct ourselves in America. We are doing everything possible right now to keep people safe in our city. We have spoken out to make sure that our residents are protected and people's constitutional rights are upheld. Speaking out in that way is not illegality. In fact, that is enshrined in the charter of our city, which is our Constitution.
So if and when that subpoena...
Oh, well, thank God Fry wanted to let us all know that they're going to comply if they actually get it. But this has nothing to do... They're just going after for him for speaking for his people. It has nothing to do with the fraud. It has nothing to do with impeding ICE operations, which, by the way, I didn't even go over that entire document with you guys. Totally forgot to finish going over this subpoena with you because I was so enraged by everything else. When you start looking through this subpoena that they ended up issuing, what it really amounts to is communications from his office to both the police, the governor, to the mayor, like his mayors, everybody, for impeding ICE operations. My favorite on here has to do with literature provided to the mayor's office, employees, contractors, or Minnesota residents relating hindering, doxing, identifying, or surveilling immigration officers. That makes me think that they already got intel on that. That Fry's office ended up kicking that out. All guidance, presentations, directives, or training literature issued to the mayor's office, employees, contractors, and Minnesota residents regarding interacted with immigration officers. They want all records, basically, starting on January 1, 25, going forward, with anything that says immigration or ICE in it. They have so much crap. And by the way, not just him, but also Walz and also frickin' Ellis, the AG, all of them are getting frickin' burned. And this subpoena right here, February 3rd, 2026, that's when they have to produce it. Not that long from today. They're going to get them. You better frickin' believe it. And of my favorite things that happened today that is extremely underreported, And I don't even care if this goes completely through. To be quite frank, I'm very happy, very, very happy that I didn't have to sit here and listen to Hillary Clinton testify a couple weeks ago so that I could tell you guys exactly the lies that ended up spewing out of her mouth. I'm actually really happy that she didn't testify. I'm also happy that today the House held her in contempt. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to go to the Senate. Hopefully it gets voted. Hopefully that B gets freaking drugged to jail. I would love to see Hillary Clinton in handcuffs. Peace, love, happiness. God bless. I'm outie.
The question is now on the amendment in the nature of a substitute to the William J. Clinton contempt report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of share, the ayes having the amendment in the nature of a substitute to the report is agreed to. The question is now on favorably reporting the William J. Clinton contempt report as amended. Members will record their votes using the electronic voting system. The clerk will now open the vote on the William J. Clinton contempt report. Have all members been recorded who wish to be? Okay, we're waiting on one more. Has everybody voted now?
Yes.
Okay. Does any member wish to change their vote? The clerk will close the vote and report the vote total.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 34, the nays are 8, with 2 voting present.
Pursuant to this, the ayes have it. Pursuant to this vote, the committee hereby favorably reports and adopts this report recommending that the House of Representatives find William J. Clinton in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with the subpoena duly issued by